Hello everyone, how are you doing? This is the first part of the inventory tutorial series that I'm doing on this channel, and in this first part we're going to start organizing the project and creating the basic structure for the HUD. So if you do like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe so you don't lose any new content, and without further ado, let's start the part 1. Okay, so I'm here in an empty third-person template in Unreal 5.3. So to start, let's organize a little bit the folders because this system will have a lot of things, so of course it's better for us to organize the folders. So to do this, I'm going to the third-person folder here, and I'll be dragging all these 3 folders to the content folder. So let's drag the blueprints folder here to the content folder, and let's click on move here, then OK. Let's do the same for the input, so just move here to the content folder, and let's do the same for the maps, so move to the content folder and hit OK. There we go. But we moved the blueprint folder and maps folder to the content folder here, but we still have those folders in the third person folder. This is happening because by moving the folders like this, we are actually creating redirectors. So before deleting this third person folder, we need to fix all the redirectors. So to fix this, just right click on the content folder here, just right click and click on fix up redirectors. And there we go. Now all the redirectors are fixed. Now we can go to the third person folder here and simply delete this folder. So just press delete on the keyboard and click on delete here. There we go. Now we have the blueprints, input and maps folder in the content folder here. There we go. But by moving the maps like this, Unreal lost the reference for this map here when the engine starts and for the game default map. So we need to do this again. So to do this, just go to the edit here, then project settings, then go to maps and modes, and here in the editor startup map, just select the third person map and do the same for the game default map. Just select the third person map. And there we go. Now we have the folders here and the game will still work, as you can see. So now let's start organizing a little bit more this. Okay, so let's go to the blueprints folder here, and because in this system I will use a lot more the base classes here, as you can see. So just go to the word settings, then in the game mode just expand the selected game mode here, and as you can see we have the base classes here that we have in the game mode. So I will use a lot more of this, especially the HUD class. So I will separate this into a base folder that we can put all the game modes that we want. So for this system I will of course only use one, but in your project, if you want, you can use more than one game mode, of course one for each level. So here in the blueprints folder I will create a new folder. I will name this bases. There we go. And inside this folder I will create a folder for the main game mode related things here, so the game mode related classes. So let's go back to the blueprints folder here, and first I will rename the character here. So I will rename this to BP main character because this is going to be on the main game mode. So let's rename the game mode as well. So this I will name BP main GM. GM stands for game mode. So let's put these two inside this bases folder here. There we go. And inside this main folder. There we go. So let's open the main folder here, and I will organize a little bit more. So I will create 2 more folders here inside the main folder. So let's create a folder for characters in case we have more than one. So let me just put this here. There we go. Let's move. And let's create a new folder for game modes. There we go. So now we have this a little bit organized. So let's organize a little bit the input folder, because for this system I will actually have 2 mapping contexts here. So I will have this one, the default one, and I will have one for the UI. So when we open the inventory, I want to have some mapping only for the inventory UI. So here in the input folder I will create a new folder here. So let's create a new folder for the default this folder, I will put this input mapping here and the action. So let's just select both and drag in the default folder. Let's move here. There we go. The mapping is still here, but if you open the default folder, we have one here as well. So let's go to the input here, and just in case, let's right click on the input folder and fix up the redirectors. There we go. Now we can delete this one in the input folder. So just select and hit delete on the keyboard. And you should see a message here. I think not. Yep, there we go. We have this message here, failed to load assets. This is okay, you just need to restart the engine, so this will be gone when we restart. But first, let me create a new folder here for the UI. There we go. And later in the series, I will start adding things on this folder. But for now, you just need to restart the engine. So this EMC default on the input folder, this will be deleted, and we will only have the input mapping on the default folder. So let me restart the engine now. Okay, so I restarted the engine, and as you can see, we don't have the input mapping context here, but we have inside the default folder because we move it, so everything is alright. Now we can start creating the widgets for the HUD. So to do this, let's go to content here and let's create a new folder for the widgets. There we go. Let me open this, and here I will create a new folder for the HUD. So every widget related to the HUD I will put inside this folder. So let's open this, and here let's start creating the widgets. So for this, I will create a crosshair widget for the crosshair and a HUD widget for the HUD itself. So let's start with the crosshair. So let's right click, let's go to the user interface and then widget blueprint. Here you can select a user widget, and I will name this WB for widget blueprint and crosshair. There we go. So let's open this and start designing this. Okay, so let's start with a size box. So just search for size here in the palette. There we go. We have the size box. Just drag in the crosshair here. And to see the actual size of this size box on the screen, just change this fill screen to desired on screen. There we go. So select the size box, and here in the details, let's override the width and the height, and let's put 10 on both. So 10 pixels. There we go. So we have this little box here. So inside this box, let's add an overlay. So just search for overlay here. There we go. Let's put inside. So I'm using an overlay here because the size box only allows for one child, and I need to put more than one child in this. So I'm using an overlay that we can put more than one child. So there we go. Inside this overlay, let's add another size box. Let's add a size box here. And inside this size box, let's add a border. So just search for border here, and let's put inside this size box. There we go. So now let's select the size box, and let's put the vertical alignment and the horizontal alignment here in the middle. There we go. And let's override the width and the height. So for this first one, let's put 10 on the width. So we have reaching the borders here. And for the height, let's put 2. So we have this little bar. So I will duplicate this. So just select this size box that we have the border inside, select this size box and press Ctrl D to duplicate, and this must be inside the overlay. So like this. And the second one, let's select the bottom one here. Let's just swap these values. So for the width, let's put 2. And for the height, let's put 10. And there we go. We have a simple crosshair here. So now we can just compile and save and use this widget inside the HUD widget. So let's create the HUD widget. Okay, so let's go back to the folders here, to the widget HUD folder, and let's create a new widget for the HUD. So right click, user interface, widget blueprint, just select user widget here, and let's name this WB HUD. There we go. So let's open this, and let's start with a canvas. So here in the palette, just search for canvas. There we go. Let's put in the HUD, and inside this canvas we need to put the crosshair that we created. So let's just go here to the user created. So this is where we have all the widgets that we created. So here we have the double brick crosshair, as you can see. So let's just drag this inside the canvas here. And we have the crosshair here, so we need to put this in the middle. So for this, select the crosshair, and here in the anchors we need to put in the middle here. But first, press and hold Ctrl and Shift on the keyboard and click on the middle here. This will put the crosshair in the middle with the anchor in the middle as well, as you can see. So for the size, let's put the same that we put in the crosshair here. So if we select the first size box here, as you can see, it's 10 by 10. So here in the size X and size Y, in the crosshair, let's put 10 by 10 as well. So just 10 and 10. And there we go. Now we have the crosshair in the middle of the canvas, so in the middle of the screen. Let's compile and save, and let's start creating the interaction text. So let's do this. Okay, so let's start by adding a text element. So just search for text here. There we go. Let's put this text on the canvas. And I want the interaction message to appear in the top middle part of the screen here. So let's select this text block here. And for the anchors, let's hold Ctrl and Shift and click on the top middle here. There we go. So it is in the top middle. Let's check the size to content here, and let's put a text here only for us to see how this will look like. So for me, it will be like E. So E is the key that I want to put as an interaction key. So E to collect apple, for example. So let me just put this to see. There we go. And I want to put this a little bit down here. So let's increase a little bit the size, the position Y actually. So let's just increase a little bit. There we go. And for the size of the font here, let's open the font here. Let's expand this. And for the size, I want to put this on 18. So there we go. Now we have this text message here. Let's change this component here. So I will put interaction text. There we go. And we need this interaction text to be a variable. So just select the text here and mark is variable, so we can change the content inside the code, so we can make this message dynamic. So let's compile and save. And now we need to create the events that will change this text content in runtime. So let's do the events now. Okay, so to create the events for the interaction text, let's go to the graph here. And because we marked the interaction text as a variable, we can have access to the variable here in the variables tab. So there we go. Let's start by deleting these events here. We don't need this, but we need to create two custom events. One to show the interaction message and one to hide the interaction message. So let's start with the show interaction message event. So right click and type custom event. There we go, add custom event, and let's name this show interaction message. There we go. And to show an interaction message, of course, we need an interaction message, an input. So this event needs an input. So let's click on this plus here to add a new input. And for the name here, let's name it interaction message. There we go. And for the type, let's put on text, because text is a localizable text string. So if you want to translate your game, you can do this with this type of variable, and every text that you want to put on the HUD for the player to see, I recommend that you use the text type here. So there we go, we have the interaction message here. We just need to change the content of this interaction text variable. So let's drag this. So let's drag a reference to the graph here, and from this we can type set text. There we go. So we can select this set text function here in the widget category here. So just select this and connect to the execution pin here. There we go. So for the text, I don't want to put this text as it is. I want to format this text because in the first part of the interaction message, I want to be static, so will always be the same, and I want only the last part to be dynamic. So to do this, from this input here, let's drag and let's type format text. So this way we can format the text and we can put this interaction message where we want inside the text. So let me show you what I mean. So I will type here the static part, so the part that will never change. So for this I will put E2, because E is the key to interact with things, and 2 of course to do something. So E2, and to add a dynamic text here we need to add these keys here, and inside this we need to type message or everything you want. So when we hit enter here, as you can see, we have the option to pass this message here, and this name inside these keys could be anything. So if I put here anything, as you can see, this could be anything. So I'm just putting message because it's self-explanatory. So let's put message here. There we go, and this message is this interaction message here. So the final result will be E2 whatever this interaction message says. So if this interaction message say collect apple, the final message will be E2 collect apple. So I hope you can understand this. So let's continue. And of course, when we hit this point of the code, the interaction message will be invisible on the screen. So we need to make this visible when we want to show the interaction message. So let's drag from the interaction text here. So let's drag and type set visibility, so we can change the visibility of this interaction text. And let's connect the execution pin here. And for this, the visibility of course will be visible because we want to show the message. And this is all for the show interaction message event. So let's select every node here and let's press C on the keyboard to comment, and let's comment this show interaction message. There we go. And this is the event. So now let's create the event to hide the interaction message. Okay, so now let's create the hide interaction message event. So let's right click and type custom event. There we go. And for the name, let's name it hide interaction message. There we go. We don't need any input for this. So let's get again a reference for the interaction text here. And from this, let's set the text to nothing. So I will set the text to nothing here, and I will set the visibility to hidden. So let's drag from interaction text and let's type set visibility, and let's change the visibility here to hidden. There we go. So this is the hide interaction message event. So let's select everything and let's comment to hide interaction message. And this is basically the two events that we need. So let's compile and save. And now we need to add this HUD on the screen when we play the game. So let's do this. Okay, so to add the HUD widget to the screen, I will do this in the base HUD class. So let me show you. If we go to word settings here, and by the way, if you're not seeing this tab, just go to window and word settings. So here in the word settings, you can expand this selected game mode in the game mode category here. And as you can see, we have a HUD class. So this is using the default HUD class that Unreal provides us when we created a template. So we're going to create our own HUD class, because in the HUD class, this is the best place for us to code anything related to the HUD. So let's create a HUD class for us to code everything. So to do this, let's go to Blueprint, Bases, Main, and here I will create a new folder. And I will name this folder HUDs. There we go, because maybe we have more than one. So inside this folder, I will create the HUD class. So to create the HUD class, right click, go to Blueprint class, and here we need to expand this all classes, and we need to search for HUD. And there we go, we have the HUD here. So just select this HUD and click on this HUD and click on select. There we go. And for this, I will name BP main HUD. So main, because this is going to be in the main game mode, so that's why main HUD. And now we have the HUD class. Let's open this, And as you can see, this looks like a normal blueprint, but we have the event here that we can code anything related to the HUD. We don't need to do anything in the viewport. So let's go to the event graph here and let's start adding this blueprint for the HUD, the widget for the HUD in the screen. So let's do this. Okay, so before I start creating and adding the widget for the HUD to the screen, let's focus on the game when we start playing. So let me show you what I mean by this. So if I go to the map here and if I play the game now, as you can see, I have my mouse on the screen. I'm moving my mouse, but the camera is not moving. I'm trying to move the character, but it is not moving. So this is happening because the game is not on focus. So we need to focus on the game when we start playing this level. So to do this, let's go back to the BP main HUD here, and I will do this on the begin play. So let's delete these other two events here. And first, let's connect this on a sequence because, of course, I want to make some things in a sequence. So I want to make first this, then this other thing. So let's start by focus on the game when we start playing. So to focus, first we need to get the player controller. So here in the HUD class, it's better for us to get the player controlling by using the node get owning player controller. So this node here. In other place we might use get player controller. So this one, get player controller, but in the HUD class it's better for us to use the get owning player controller. So in the HUD class use this node, get owning player controller. So here is the player controller. So from here we can drag and type set input mode, and we need to choose game only. So we want to focus on the game only in the begin play of this HUD. So let's connect the first pin here of this sequence in this node here, and there we go. Now we can compile and save. So let's go back here to the third person level. So we have the folders here, and to make this class run we need to connect this on the game mode. So just go to the word settings here, expand the selected game mode on the game mode category here. So just expand this, and here in the HUD class on this BP main game mode we need to select this game mode here. If it's not selected by default, just click here and change to the game mode that we renamed in the beginning. So BP main game mode. And in this game mode we need to change the HUD class to the BP main HUD. So basically when this level loads, this game mode get loaded as well, and of course every class of this game mode get loaded as well. So the HUD will be loaded and the code will start to run. So this code here. So let's compile and save, and now if I hit play, as you can see, the game is already on focus. I don't need to click to focus on the game. The game is automatic on focus. So that's what I mean. So there we go. Now the game focus when we hit play. So now let's create the HUD on the screen. Okay, so let's go back to the BP main HUD class here, and let's start by organizing this first part here. So we have a barcode. Let's select this and let's comment focusing on the game. There we go. And now we need to create the widget blueprint for the HUD. So let's do this, but first let's create a variable to be a reference to this HUD widget. So let's add a new variable here and let's name this HUD widget blueprint, so WB, and the type will be the same as the type of this HUD widget. So just type here widget blueprint HUD, so the name of the blueprint, and just select object reference here. There we go. So now we can start creating the HUD. So for this, in the sequence, let's drag from the second pin here and let's type create widget. There we go. And the class that we want to create is of course the widget blueprint for the HUD. So just select the class here, and the owning player is the player controller. So let's right click and type get owning player controller because we are in the HUD class. Let's connect this on the owning player here, and now we can set this variable with this value. So let's just set the variable here with this return value of the create widget blueprint node, And now we can add this to the viewport. So from the value here, just type add to viewport, and there we go. Now let's comment this. So select everything and comment creating and adding the HUD widget to the viewport. There we go. Now if I compile and save this, and if I hit play now, there we go. We have the HUD on the screen. As you can see, we have the crosshair on the middle and we have the interaction message on top. But of course, we don't need the interaction message to always appear on the screen. So let's hide the interaction message by default. So to do this, let's go back to the HUD widget blueprint here. Let's select the interaction text. Let's scroll down until we find the behavior here, and here in the visibility, let's change this to hidden. There we go. So if I compile now and save, and if I hit play, as you can see, we have the crosshair on the screen. That means that we have the HUD, but the interaction text is now hide. So now let's change a little bit the camera of the character, because as you can see, the character is in the middle, so we cannot look to something. So if I want to interact with something here, the character is in the middle. So let's change this a little bit. So let's do this. Okay, so let's open the character blueprint. So the character is now on blueprints, basis, main characters, and here we have the character. So let's open this. Let's go to viewport. And first I want this camera to be higher, so let's select the camera boom and let's make this a little bit higher. There we go. I want this camera to be closer to the character, so let's select the camera boom and let's go to the target arm length here. Let me change this to maybe 280. There we go. And I want the camera to be in the right side of the character, so let's select the follow camera here and let's move this to the right side here, maybe 50 units. So there we go. Now if I compile and save, let's hit play so we can see. There we go. We have the character on the left side of the screen and we have the crosshair free, so we can interact with things in the world. So there we go. And this is basically it for this first part. So in this part, we organized the project and we created the base structure for the HUD. And in the next part, we will start creating the interaction system, because every inventory system needs an interaction system, because of course we need to interact with the items that we want to collect. So in the second part, we will start creating the interaction system. So if you do like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe so you don't lose any new content, and that helps me a lot. And as always, thank you for watching, keep learning, and I'll see you in the next video.